Bonjour à tous, je suis ravie de vous retrouver pour cette nouvelle saison d'On ne parle que de ça. Et pour cette première émission de la rentrée, on ne parle que de ce jeune comédien américain qui incarne Barack Obama au cinéma dans le film First Date, actuellement en salle. Il s'appelle Parker Sawyers, nous l'avons rencontré. Je vous propose de le découvrir tout de suite. Hello, Parker Sawyers. Thank you for being with us today. I'm very pleased to meet you. You're very charming Barack Obama in a Richard Tony movie, which title is South Side with You. And that movie that recounts the first date between Michelle and Barack Obama. It's not a political movie. Of course, at that time, during August 1989, both didn't have any idea that someday they will make history. So this is a love story movie. But would you say this is a common date, a common love story?
I think it is. A common one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it is. I think it shows anybody who would get to know one another. And I see it not even like romantic, but even as friends. You meet somebody, if you're like summer camp, mm-hmm. the first day at school when you're 14, you're just like figuring each other out. Like, oh, wow, you like G.I. Joes? Yeah, me too. Oh, you like to go swimming? Yeah, me too. That kind of thing, you know?
But
so that's
would
what
you say it's just a common love story with these two characters? Can we say that it's just common?
I think so. It's very relatable. No, I think it's a very relatable story. Now, the things they talk about and the way they talk, and their brains when they're so intelligent. Yeah, perhaps that's uncommon. And then we know where they end up, so that's also uncommon. But the fact that they fell in love, or at least let their guards down mm-hmm. by the end of the date, I think it's very relatable.
Michelle thought it wasn't a date.
It isn't.
Going to an awful lot of trouble for just another smooth-talking brother.
He's the summer associate I told y'all about, the one from Harvard Law. He invited me to a community event.
So what's this boy's name?
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
Hi.
Hello.
You're late.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
I expected it. You were late for your first day of work.
You noticed that too.
Shouldn't we be getting to the meeting?
We have some time. I thought we'd swing by the art center, see some paintings, maybe grab a bite to eat.
This is not a date.
So when we watch this movie, this day-long date, it seems that this date has never ended, yeah. You know? It's a love story born with a glance between Michelle and Barack, and that it seems that glance has never changed. It's the same today with the same intensity. Yeah. Would you say that it explains today the secret of their iconic image we have?
Yeah, that's what Richard Taney, the writer and director, mm-hmm. that's what made him want to write it, is he said, he saw them on TV, and he was like, this is 2007, yeah. when they were campaigning. And it was the look that they give each other. And mm-hmm. he was just like, what is that? Where does that come from? So he researched for years and wrote it, and that's what started it. So yeah, that look that Tika and I give each other, yeah, it does. It sustains today.
Do you think Barack Obama would have rise to the top where he is today without her? No. Oh, there's a joke, man. They went back to like a pizza place, I think, in Chicago mm-hmm. after he was president, and I think Michelle was like, "Oh, I used to date a guy here," and Barack goes, "Oh yeah, well then you wouldn't be married to the president." And she goes, "Of course."
She goes, "Well, he would have been president if he stuck with me." You know, so she knows how big of a role she's played, and mm-hmm. he knew that. I think that's what attracted him to her, was like that she's super intelligent, that she knows herself, that she's very determined, and that she's herself around a lot of different people, and that she, you know, they support each other. She could have been president.
Yeah,
in my
she
opinion.
could have been president too.
Yeah, she could if she wanted to.
That's sweet of you, but I'm an ice cream kind of girl.
Who doesn't like pie? You flip those letters around, you get an entirely different word. Say it with me now. They say no, we say.
It's been a while since I've had that kind of connection to real life struggle. Just want to do more.
Yeah, so do I. I wonder if I can write books or hold a position of influence in civil rights.
Politics?
Maybe.
You want some?
Sure.
When we watch this movie, what is interesting is that we witness the beginning of a couple, but it's not just a couple, it's a team, it's a partnership. Would you say that too?
Yeah, I mean, acting is sort of like politics, and like the long hours, the time away from home, that kind of thing. And my wife's very supportive, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't because of her support. And in politics as well. I mean, if you think about the hours, traveling around the country, people saying nasty things about you, that kind of thing. And also just like talking about policy and having somebody you can go home to at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, so what do you think about, and they have an intelligent thing to say. And also somebody believing that you can be president and run the country. No, it's definitely a relationship built on support and mutual respect. And like I said, if she wanted to run, I'm sure he'd be a very good first husband.
We see how charismatic they are already in 1989, of course. And Barack has his charming figure already. How would you describe this specific talent he has? How did you portray it?
Yeah, well, I built his confidence and charm on his life leading up to 28. So he was born mixed race back in 1960, whenever he was born. He was born mixed race, and he didn't know his father, and so that would give him a different perspective. He moved to Indonesia, moved back to Hawaii, raised by his white grandparents for a while. He knew he was very smart. I'm sure he did very well in school all the time, if he wanted to, and he knew, oh, I can just, if I want, I can get an A. And then he moved to Occidental College, or university, and when I went to college in America, my parents drove me, you know? And I thought, he went by himself. Yeah. And then he went to Columbia by himself. So I was like, okay, the type of guy who would pack up everything in a U-Haul and drive literally across the country, presumably by himself at age 20. It's like, so what does that make a person? And it's somebody who, if they spend a lot of time by themselves, they get to know themselves very well. And once you know yourself very well, you can go in any situation and you're fine. You can go dropped in the middle of Paris or dropped in the middle of New York, and you're fine.
You have enough self-confidence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's where his confidence comes from, and his charm is that he's like, you know, I know you don't want to go out with me, but just 20 more minutes. It'll work out. You know, I think he's used to like, it'll work out, it'll work out.
It's like always a challenge to succeed in. Yeah. Were you intimidated to play and to be the president of the United States? It's such a...
I know, but no. I mean, it was him at 28 and wasn't the president. He wasn't the president. He was a 28-year-old. And if I focused on him being 28, a hole in the car, smoking his cigarettes, reading books in his apartment, dirty dishes, the clothes that he probably wears every weekend. Might smell a little bit, you know what I mean? Once I really focused on the character, it was a lot easier because it was just like, no, it's just a guy. It's just a guy. And so...
But maybe your intimidation, if you had one, would have come from who you are and who you were 5 years ago. Because I read somewhere that you were not an actor 5 years ago. And Barack Obama gave you the strength to become an actor. How that?
Well, because, I mean, as the first black president, and you know, I live in London now, but I mean, I've been there 8 years, but to look back at the way that we treat race in America and how it's just always like a topic of conversation, it's always the elephant in the room. I think moving really helped me realize just how extraordinary it is that he's done what he did. I mean, that he became president, that people loved him, that I think he won my home state, Indiana, in the first election. And so I thought, well, if he can do that, then I'm pretty sure I can figure out this acting thing. So I quit my job, and it worked out.
And you took the right decision.
But it was also tough. So I mean, that's the other thing, right? In his memoirs, he does talk about, he lost elections. It's not like he's just sailed through. And so for me, and he also talks about the warmth and the energy he gets from talking to people and being in a living room and giving speeches and hearing people's problems that he can help out with. And so for me, it was like step by step. It was like one director would say, hey, you're really good. 3 directors would be like, nope. And I'd be like, well, that one director said that's pretty good, so I'll listen to that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so I just kept going that way. And then I thought about how much he had to campaign and be around the country and talking to people till midnight and then get up at 6 and go do something. And I applied the same thing to acting. I was like, all right, I'll study voices. I play piano. I like practice all the time just to get used to performing. So yeah, I kind of followed a strange blueprint, sort of a blueprint laid out by him.
So
and Jay-Z.
This character, this role you play is such important for you. Do you think Barack Obama will see the movie? We think so?
I hope so. I hope he sees it.
But what would you like he would think of it?
Well, no, I care what he thinks, but I really care about what Michelle thinks.
Why?
Because, I mean, him, if somebody wanted to play me, I'd watch it and be like, that's not me. But Michelle might be like, that's how he was. Oh my gosh, exactly how he was. You know what I mean?
Do you think you will meet them someday?
I hope so.
You hope so?
Oh, someday, yeah.
Someday,
probably,
yeah. You will meet them someday, of course.
Yeah.
I hope for you.
Well, I just think that. I think I'll just meet him at some point in my life. But I hope soon, and I hope we can discuss the movie, and I can tell him or tell them how much they mean. And I hope that's what they realize the movie's about, is that it's like people see them as extraordinary, and we just think, well, how did you do this? How did you guys connect? You know, it's like Puff Daddy and Biggie. It's like, man, if they never met and they didn't make this music, or like Jay-Z and Kanye, or the Rolling Stones. You're like, how did you guys, or the Beatles?
Yeah.
Like, how did you guys get? Well, thanks. It's a good thing you guys all met, because we get this. So yes, I would like to meet them and say thank you.
Just thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Parker Sawyers.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.